Jin Yu opened his eyes and realized that he had been reborn as a golden horn giant and had obtained a one-time perfect clone system. The 3 golden horn giant clones could also create an additional 3 clones. Damn it, the number of clones could not be counted. Jin Yu. What should I do? The big shot has set his sights on me. And I snatched the opportunity at the beginning, should I choose to be taken away by Luo Feng. Waiting online, it's quite urgent. At this moment, the complete version of the Nine Calamities Secret Scripture appeared in Jin Yu's mind. Licking the protagonist. Not existing. There is no comfortable way to gather wool from the Lord of Rao City. Jin Yu. More than people. I have 13 clones, what are you fighting me for? Jin Yu. The strongest in the universe. I have become the strongest in the universe and 4 independent clones, immortal and indestructible. What are you fighting me with? Relying on the Hunyuan level clone talent, transcending reincarnation, transcending the continent of origin. There are also some interesting scenarios, such as the benefits of the Cosmic Master enslaving the strongest of the universe, the secrets of the deep universe, the secrets of the dark universe, the reasons why the strongest of the universe can surpass the speed of light by 100 times, and the benefits of the Cosmic Master's secret method exceeding 10 levels. Wait a minute. There is a lot of room for expansion in the original work, and my writing style may be mediocre. I just hope to present some of my ideas in a reasonable way. It takes 300,000 words to be listed, all for free. Everyone can freely consult. The subscription score is average, but this book is constantly becoming less unique and will be completed. The next book has already been written in tens of thousands of words. After completion, we will open a new book and continue to devour the starry sky. Keywords of the novel. Starting from swallowing the starry sky. Rebirth of the golden horn giant without a pop-up window, starting from swallowing the starry sky. Rebirth of the golden horn giant TXT complete collection download, starting from swallowing the starry sky. Rebirth of the golden horn giant latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Rebirth of the golden horn giant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Rebirth of the Golden Horn Giant, Despicable Marquis Linyu. Even if I fight to fall, I won't let you succeed. Deep in the starry sky of the universe, a pitch-black giant beast nearly 1,000 kilometers long roared in anger. On the huge head, there are 5 black and ferocious sharp horns piercing the sky, shimmering with golden light. The whole body is covered with black scales like blades, and the huge wings that cover the sky and sun are constantly flapping. Every time there was a stir, fragments of space were brought up, and the speed reached a terrifying level. Humph. I never expected that the Marquis Jin Yu in the Tang dynasty would be a clone of a golden horn giant beast. As long as I catch you, I can gather enough resources to break through the title of king. In another part of the universe, a human powerhouse with a crystal feather on his forehead is also stirring up his wings to constantly track the black giant beast. Damn it. I'm just a beginner in the battle power of Marquis Feng. The opponent is the peak of Marquis Feng, and the energy intensity is enough to reach the level of Marquis Feng when burning divine power. I can't bear it at all. I can't escape this time. The ferocious beast was filled with regret. If it weren't for obtaining that spatial treasure, it wouldn't have exposed its clone. But who would have thought that their allies would recognize them? And the nucleus is within oneself, and if caught, it will inevitably be enslaved or taken away. I hate it. I could have broken through to immortality long ago. If it weren't for improving my foundation and reaching the peak of the Marquis, which round would you chase me? The golden horn giant roared crazily in its heart. But it's too late, and now it's completely helpless. Since you want to catch me, then be prepared for burial. The golden-horned beast's bloodthirsty eyes flashed with a crazy expression, and took out the spatial treasure it had obtained, which exploded in a fierce manner. I didn't expect that Jin Yu would have this day. I thought I could live until the end of the universe, but I didn't expect that the path of immortality had not even begun and was about to fall. At this moment, the golden horned giant was suspended in a disheveled state in the starry sky, with ferocious wounds all over its body, and red blood gushing out like a waterfall. One of the huge wings also disappeared, and the other half broke. However, none of this is the most fatal. Trauma can be restored as long as there are treasures and energy, but the dying counterattack of Marquis Jin Yu and the backlash of space treasures have already injured the origin pearl. The primordial pearl of the golden horned giant, also known as the prokaryote within its body, has already cracked through numerous huge scars and is constantly spreading. I didn't expect one day to use the inheritance secret method, my child. I hope you can grow up smoothly. Jin Yu mockingly shook his huge head. Subsequently, the inheritance secret technique was used, and a golden light shone throughout the body, while the remaining vitality continued to gather towards the abdomen. However, unnoticed by the golden horned giant, a strange energy that was not easily noticeable was also sucked into the sky. Finally, the energy gathered to its limit and formed an oval-shaped giant egg covered in golden stripes. Go, my child. The golden horn monster had endless attachment and regret in its eyes. Its right paw opened a spatial crack, and the spatial secret was used, spitting the giant egg inside. After spitting out the golden egg, the life aura of the golden horn monster sharply declined. In the final moment of complete death, it chose to completely self-destruct, unleashing endless energy. At the moment before the self-explosion, the final energy enveloped the giant egg and flew towards the remote depths of the starry sky. My head hurts so much, I won't stay up late and play games again next time. Jin Yu made up his mind for countless times. It's just different this time, he feels a bit strange. Why is it pitch black? Haven't it started yet? He looked around in confusion at the pitch-black environment and instinctively reached out to grope for the light to turn on. When? The crisp sound of impact startled Jin Yu. He felt like he had hit some metal wall. What am I wearing on my hand? Where did that sharp thing come from? The tactile sensation from his fingertips made him furrow his brow. Various thoughts began to spring out of his mind, causing Jin Yu to become anxious. He felt that he might have encountered some supernatural event, and inexplicably felt a hint of fear and panic in his heart. Where the hell am I? Time slowly passed, but Jin Yu still achieved nothing. He only felt constrained and unable to move around. Gradually, impatience and helplessness turned into anger, and Jin Yu clenched his fists and blasted out. Click. 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 The unknown wall, under the continuous bombardment of Jin Yu, emitted a toothache moan. Cracks spread all over the bombarded wall, and a faint ray of light projected in from the cracks, illuminating the originally dark environment. This. Through the faint light, Jin Yu finally saw clearly what the pointed object he had previously felt was. That is a fierce and sharp dragon claw. His brain was completely shut down, and all perceptions were clearly telling him a fact. This claw was his own hand. Did you actually become a monster? Before he could react, a torrent of inherited memories overwhelmed all of his consciousness. I don't know how long it took, but Jin Yu's consciousness gradually returned and he regained control of his body. The Golden Horn Giant. The primitive universe. The wicked universe. Jin Yu finally knew from his inherited memory where he had appeared. This was the territory of devouring the starry sky and the underworld of the universe. And he was reborn as a golden horned giant with the pinnacle of his bloodline. Jin Yu summarized and organized the following inheritance memories. Golden Horn Giant Beast Cultivation Knowledge includes 18 special secret techniques that can be practiced and 3,199 common secret techniques. But they are all secrets suitable for golden horn behemoths. Introduction to other giant beasts in the starry sky, introduction to various races of humans, including controllers, illusionists, tamers, puppeteers, hunters, warriors. In addition to humans, starry sky giants, as well as demon and insect races, each race has a large number of introductions. Except for flesh and blood races. There are also metal races, such as mechanical races, as well as rock races, spirit races, plant races. At the same time, there are also some extremely rare and unique races that possess immense power like celestial beasts, but are very rare. There are too many and complex memories, and it is impossible to finish reading them, and Jin Yu does not expect to finish reading these complex memory information now. He just wants to go out and take a look now. After learning that he was a golden horn giant, his inner restlessness gradually disappeared, and he no longer worried about becoming a monster. After all, the golden horn giant has a natural clone. Becoming a human is a very simple thing. And you should know that even if the golden horn monster grows naturally, it is still the pinnacle of the realm lord's existence. Adding 10 times the genetic hierarchy, as long as you don't die, you have a minimum lifespan of 10,000 epochs. How long was that? Over 100 million years. If you work hard, cultivate well, and become immortal, then life is endless. In theory, the original work did not mention the appearance of the second golden horn giant in the Silver Blue Empire. So now it should be on Earth. Jin Yu absorbed the memory and found out the approximate location of his birthplace, then determined that this was the territory of the Silver Blue Empire. He speculated that this might be the hometown of Luo Feng, the son of the plane. But other possibilities cannot be ruled out. For example, other time and space periods. However, with my current strength, if I were on Earth, I would probably be killed by Hong and the Thunder God in seconds. If I were on other very powerful planets, it would be even more dangerous. Let's just eat the eggshell honestly first. Nowadays, I am still too weak, and indecent development is the king's way. According to the inheritance memory, as long as he eats the eggshell and then eats a large amount of metal, he can reach the star level in just 1 year. Jin Yu has just been born, and with only 1 level of planetary level, 10 times his genes can elevate him to a power level of about 5 levels of ordinary planetary level. When encountering Thunder God, you may still struggle for a while, but when encountering Hong, you can basically play GG. As for star-level powerhouses on other planets, well, it's impossible to escape the possibility of being enslaved or even taken away. Let's go out first. The sharp corners of his head forcefully squeezed through the eggshell, and Jin Yu crawled out with mucus all over his body. Click. Click. He opened his fierce mouth and swallowed the eggshell in large gulps. It took him about 45 minutes to finally swallow all the eggshells. And the body, which was originally only about 12 meters long, has grown to 16 meters by swallowing eggshells. The mucus on the body is also absorbed by the body, revealing black scales that are chilling like sharp blades. The new book is starting. Let's take a walk if you have tickets. Just give them monthly tickets from the master, and recommend them to me. Please leave more comments and exchange ideas. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Something's wrong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Something's wrong, finally finished. According to the inheritance memory, either swallow the metal combined with the nutrients of the eggshell, and you can reach star level in a year. Alternatively, searching for powerful creatures to devour can also accelerate one's physical growth. However, these are not urgent. First, go grab a monster and learn about the situation on this planet. Jin Yu urgently needs to determine whether he is on Earth or not. About the energy intensity of the 9th level apprentice, that's all for you. At this moment, Jin Yu searched and discovered a nearly 100-meter long electric eel. The fish tail evolved into a dragon tail, and its energy level reached the peak of the Lord level. Expanding his nearly 20-meter wide scaly wings, Jin Yu instantly transformed into a faint golden shadow. Before the electric eel could react, it was knocked unconscious with one wing. Soul searching. Jin Yu's unicorn lit up, and his strong mental and intellectual power surged into the mind of the Lord level eel. This is a common secret technique he learned from the Golden Horn Giant's inheritance memory. He doesn't have time to delve deeper into it, but the simple and rough application methods are still easy to master. The only cost is that after the soul search is completed, the object's soul will also collapse and die. Is the planet-level tuna the strongest 100 kilometers around? Is the strongest one in this sea area a planet-level 8th-order thunder dragon? After soul searching and based on some images and energy perception that the other party knew, Jin Yu roughly understood the situation in this sea area. At least with one's own abilities, there is no danger to life. The sea monster is so weak, it's very likely that it's Earth. However, we still need to find another human to confirm. Jin Yu pondered for a moment, then transformed into a golden silhouette again, diving towards the coastline. On the evening of August 20th, 2057, in the former state of New York, North America, USA. New York connects to the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, the United States established a large military area not far from New York and built a war base in New York to prevent sea monsters from entering the interior. The war base, over 500 meters long, is like a ferocious monster perched on the river. Within the war base, the afterglow of the sunset shone through the upper part, and in a bunker below, 5 American soldiers were sitting cross-legged gambling on the ground. Because most of the time there is no combat in the war base, and once a battle occurs, people often die. Therefore, soldiers usually gamble and play, and the senior military officials do not pay attention. Shit, stinky card. One of the black youths cursed and threw away the card in his hand. Because I had lost all my money, I came to the small cave in the dark castle to ease my mood. The direction of the cave opening is exactly where the Statue of Liberty used to be, but it has already collapsed into ruins. Shit virus. Damn monster. The Statue of Liberty has also collapsed, and one day these dirty monsters will be killed. The black youth shouted angrily when he saw the monster wandering in the distance. OMG, is this monster seeking death? The black youth suddenly pointed in surprise at the entrance of the bunker, and the other soldiers immediately looked at it upon hearing the sound. This is a monster with a body length of over 16 meters and a body shape similar to a lion. Its body is covered with black scales the size of a human head, and the edges of each black scale are like sharp blades that make people shiver. It also has a pair of wings that stretch out 20 meters wide and are covered in black scales, as if they were made of steel. There is also a unicorn above my head that is eager to pierce through the sky. Damn it, it's a Lord-level monster. This will take 15.6 meters. This speed, at least at the Lord level, pull the alarm. Quick, fast, fast. The piercing alarm suddenly sounded, echoing throughout the entire war base. The previously loose war base seemed to be twisted up, and countless soldiers immediately returned to their posts, ready to start fighting. What frightened them was that when they thought it could be easily solved, the golden streaks wrapped around the black monster's unicorn suddenly lit up, and its speed increased rapidly, forming remnants. This is the talent secret of the Golden Horn Giant, enhanced. And the steel fortress that could withstand the Lord level was pierced by black monsters like tofu, and at the same time, 2 soldiers were also pierced and disappeared into the deep sea with the black monsters. At a distance of over 100 kilometers from the fortress, Jin Yu stopped and conducted a soul search on the 2 soldiers who had been pierced and unconscious by him. Casually throwing the 2 corpses into the ocean, Jin Yu's heart remained calm, as if he had only done a trivial matter. At this moment, he did not notice that he had been influenced by the bloodline of the Golden Horn Giant's slaughter. Indeed, it is on Earth. And now it is August 20th, 2057. Recently, an invincible war god named Luo Feng appeared in Huaxia. Due to the fact that the strongest people on Earth are Chinese, Chinese language became popular worldwide at this time, and most people were familiar with it. After organizing his memories, Jin Yu finally determined the time and location of his travels. It seems that I led to the early birth of the Golden Horn Giant. According to the original trajectory, it should not have emerged from the egg until 2058. Jin Yu didn't expect to be angry and break through the eggshell, causing him to be born a year earlier. But if I become a golden horn giant, what will happen to Luo Feng's fate? Jin Yu was confused at the thought of this. The golden horn giant can be said to run through the entire devouring starry sky. Without the golden horn giant, there would be no glorious future for Luo Feng. Without Luo Feng, no one can solve the threat of the beast. However, now the golden horn giant has been taken away by itself for some reason. But I can't foolishly rush to let Luo Feng give up. Jin Yu almost vomited blood in frustration, feeling a bit numb and completely immersed in self-doubt. I can't go 1,000 miles to give someone a head and rush to snatch it from Luo Feng. What's the use of thinking about this now? Jin Yu chuckled at himself in the end. Even if it is a beast crisis in the future, it is impossible for oneself to be great and die noble. Putting the overall situation first. Please, I'm not a saint. If I die, what's the point of defeating the beasts in the world? Let's first see if there is any content that can be used in the miscellaneous items. Jin Yu confirmed that he was on Earth and was not in a hurry for now. When he was organizing his memories before, he always felt like something strange had mixed in and he hadn't had time to organize it yet. The origin of inheriting memories. Jin Yu flipped to a place that had always puzzled him, and his eyes lit up as he read it carefully. 10 minutes later, Jin Yu showed a sudden realization expression. Just looking like a golden horn giant, it's somewhat ferocious. He originally believed that inheriting memories was similar to giving rules, whether it was a newly born golden horn giant in the starry sky or a golden horn giant egg spit out after its fall, they would receive the same inheritance information. But he realized that he had a wrong idea. The inheritance of information is limited and cannot be accumulated without limitations. Inheritance memory is similar to the structure of cloud servers, where each immortal golden horn giant is qualified to leave a legacy and upload one of its own to the cloud server. However, throughout history, golden horn giants have found that if a member is taken away by other ethnic groups after uploading too advanced inheritance, it will result in various secret techniques being cheaper than other ethnic groups. As a result, they have deleted some inheritance information and replaced it with inheritance that can only be practiced by golden horn giants. Damn it, if it's enough chicken thieves, I'll just say that in the original work, Luo Feng didn't get any precious secrets. It turns out that this group of old thieves deleted the inheritance. Jin Yu gritted his teeth. In theory, the Golden Horn Giant clan is very powerful, with 2 masters in the universe. There must be many secret methods for increasing power. However, in the original work, Luo Feng only obtained the secret method that Golden Horn Giant can cultivate, which is to devour precious materials. The amplification secret method that can be practiced without resources is not provided, and it is only given to the Golden Horn Giant beast for cultivation. The good news is that besides cloud servers, there are also local servers that can be inherited. Except for those nurtured by the natural environment, dying golden horned beasts can also pass on everything they have to the next generation through the secret of breeding. This is the advantage of local servers, not limited by rules. Sleeping in bed. Making a fortune. Jin Yu continued to organize this information and discovered the precious wealth left by his predecessor. He never expected that his predecessor would leave him an inheritance. There are both account passwords, and the prerequisite for extracting them is to present a golden horn of a giant beast. Originally, his predecessor was also known as Jin Yu, and he also gained the name of Marquis Jin Yu in the human kingdom. Simple descriptions gave Jin Yu a basic understanding of his predecessor. The strength of a marquis is wealth. Jin Yu saw the content of the information introduction and found that the wealth left for him exceeded 5 million mixed yuan units. However, it's not much to say. Even immortal military leaders like Huyan Bo have left their disciples with a legacy of 3 million mixed yuan units, and it's not surprising what the Golden Horn Giant has left behind. But now that he can't access the universe, Jin Yu can only stare at this string of numbers. He once doubted life, which made him depressed. Novice on the road, recommended ticket to take a walk. Thanks, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. Perfect Clone, Disposable System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Perfect Clone, Disposable System, you are really a talented person. Then after reading it, Jin Yu couldn't help roast. This golden horn giant beast is really creepy, and surprisingly, it still has a hand. Surprisingly, the account and password of the Universe Bank were set separately, and if they were taken away, they would be automatically eliminated. Completely aimed at harming others rather than benefiting oneself. And this is also because there is very little account information that can be operated on, and the existence of secret methods that can move millions or even tens of millions of words is impossible to do small operations. Jin Yu also understood why in the original work, Luo Feng did not receive a penny from the golden horn giant beast. Because the other party lifted the table. Omega, good, I like your operation. After 2 rounds of roast, Jin Yu had to give the other side a compliment. The other party's provocative actions ultimately cost me a lot of money. After confirming that his birthplace was on Earth, Jin Yu began to calculate in his heart. Nowadays, there are thousands of light-years of space secrets around the Earth, which means that one can only go out by flying. The only reliable way to get this money is to find Babata and then use his power to leave the Earth. Jin Yu knew that it was impossible for him to leave the Earth on his own ability in a short period of time. To leverage the power of Babata, one must join Meteorite. To join Meteorite in Hyanbo, one must be a spiritual thinker. But he is now in a monster form. If he were to go find the Meteorite Star spacecraft, he might not be directly imprisoned or even killed by Babata. In the short term, it still cannot appear on land. If it is monitored by satellites, it will cause trouble for Hong and Thunder God to take action. Jin Yu carefully recalled some of the content of the original work, as he had now reached the rank of Xingxing, and his memory was much clearer. He remembered that Luo Feng would soon be appointed as the supervisor, and later he was taken over by Li Dawei of the military region to assist in resisting the beast tide in the southeast military region. Well, this is good news. It's possible to take advantage of this opportunity to obtain Luo Feng's genes. After all, his talent as a spiritual master barely caught Babata's eye. Obtaining a human clone is essential, whether it is to defeat Babata or join a major force in the future. Jin Yu cannot appear as a golden horn giant. However, just as Jin Yu decided to seize the opportunity to obtain Luo Feng's genes, a sudden voice rang in his mind. Perfect clone system loading completed. Confirmed in host information confirmation, host Jin Yu. Host Jin Yu, whose body is a golden horn giant, is loading information. Loading completed. Thank you for your use. The instructions for use have been issued. Goodbye. And then there was no more, leaving behind the shrouded Jin Yu. But strangely, I have already obtained the specific usage method of the system in my mind. To be precise, this is a one-time system that completely disappeared after transforming Jin Yu's body. Perfect clone. What situation? Jin Yu was immersed in the system description for a moment. The explanation is also very simple, it is to upgrade Jin Yu's clone talent to a perfect clone talent. It can perfectly replicate the biological genes within the tolerance range of the internal world. Perhaps you think the golden horn giant already has this feature. But the difference is too big. The golden horn giant cannot replicate its clone talent, even if it copies its own genes. The obtained golden horn giant clone will lose its inner world. This is a limitation of the primordial universe and the highest rules to prevent infinite card bugs. But after system modification, Jin Yu's talent clone has broken through the limitations of the rules and can perfectly replicate any gene within his tolerance range. And more importantly, what is perfection? Can completely replicate the opponent's dual talents of body and soul. Damn it. Isn't it possible for me to obtain unlimited clones? Jin Yu immediately decided to replicate his genes without even thinking about it. After all, replicating oneself is equivalent to having 3 clones again. Do we still need to consider this? The inner world. This is an independent land plate, approximately 160 meters long and wide, with its end visible at a glance. At a height of 160 meters above the land plate, there is all golden mist, and there is endless golden mist around the land. The land itself is also golden, with some small mounds scattered on it, but all of it is metal. At this time, Jin Yu only had a planetary level first peak. So the inner world is very small, with a diameter of only over 160 meters. He used his sharp claws to cut through his fingertips, and then relied on his devouring talent to directly devour the red blood droplets flowing out into the world inside his body. Talent, clone, nurturing. Jin Yu's mind moved. Roaming and rumbling, the entire metal land trembled, and the red blood beads were suspended above it like an invisible force. This is the only 3 opportunities that the Golden Horn Giant has in its lifetime. The inner world can only be used for the second time when it grows to the cosmic level. Now, Jin Yu is using his talent that can be used once at the planetary level, starting to conceive a clone. She is like being decomposed. The mass of blood suspended in the air instantly vaporized. Countless golden mist, which had been high above and outside the metal land, surged towards the center, quickly enveloping the genetic material left behind by the vaporization of blood. In just a moment, it turned into an oval-shaped golden egg. We're starting. After using his talent's secret technique, clone, Jin Yu naturally learned some information. The amount of time it takes for an ordinary golden horn giant to conceive its body is related to its own strength and the genes of the body it conceives. The stronger the inner world, the faster it breeds. The lower the genetic material, the easier it is to conceive. But Jin Yu is different. He found that his time to conceive was very short, and according to feedback, he could succeed in at most 1 day. I thought it would take a long time, but I didn't expect it would only take 1 day. It's so abnormal. But I like it. After learning about the specific time of conception, Jin Yu's heart was filled with joy, so satisfied that he couldn't be more satisfied. You should know that some noble and powerful races may take hundreds to thousands of years to conceive. But now it only takes 1 day, it's simply perfect and can't be more perfect. It's truly a perfect talent that has been modified by the system. 1 day later. August 21st, 2057 in the Gregorian calendar. Finally, the pregnancy is over. Jin Yujing lay at the bottom of the sea, her consciousness focused on the golden egg in her inner world. At this moment, there is a huge oval-shaped golden egg suspended in the sky. When this oval-shaped golden egg was first conceived, its volume was still small, but as it was conceived, its volume grew larger and now it is 16 meters high. As the eggshell gradually thins, a new golden horn giant has already been bred and matured. Ka. Cracks gradually appeared on the eggshell, and as a ferocious claw extended from the eggshell finally shattered, and a new golden horn giant suspended in the air. The golden horn giant opened its tightly closed eyes, revealing its cold, dark golden pupils. Then he looked around the golden continent with a hint of curiosity. Is this my inner world? A strange color flashed through the eyes of the golden horn giant. Then, with a movement of thought, he left his inner world. At this time, next to a dark golden horn monster in the deep sea, an identical golden horn monster suddenly appeared again. It's really peculiar, 2 senses are independent and autonomous, yet their thinking is synchronized and unified. Jin Yu's consciousness was discovered through the bodies of 2 golden horned beasts, and his thoughts and memories were completely synchronized. A clone is indeed a very magical existence. The law of gold fluctuates. Suddenly, Jin Yuming widened his eyes. He unexpectedly felt the strange fluctuations in the universe, and passing down memories made him certain that it was the law of gold fluctuations. Is this the effect of talent stacking? According to the information he learned from the usage manual, the talents of the clone can be stacked. After transformation, there is a mysterious connection between the clones, and talents can be stacked. And unlike ordinary avatars, the three avatars separated by the subject are completely independent of the main body. That is to say, the ontology and the three separated avatars exist independently and belong to a brand new individual. Connected but independent, even if the clone is killed by the soul, it can still be resurrected. This ability definitely surpasses the so-called Divine King level. Because after reaching the true God level, clones need to be unified. But Jin Yu's clones are completely independent and not affected by the rules. At least even the Divine King cannot achieve it. Perhaps the level of Hunyuan Lord can achieve it, but it is also impossible to have multiple independent clones. Otherwise, Lord Luo and his companions do not need to cultivate any descendants, they just need to have clones shoulder to shoulder. This clone system may be even more mysterious and powerful than he imagined. The specific functions and subtle situations require him to gradually explore in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Lord Luo's Gaze. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Lord Luo's Gaze. Talent stacking is one thing, but the specific manifestation is unclear. There is no way to introduce the effects of various talents stacked in the explanation, as the amount of information is enough to sustain the entire primitive universe. Originally, according to his expectations, talent stacking was similar to addition, with the more clones there were, the more talents multiplied. But in actual experience, Jin Yu no longer naively feels that it is just addition. He seriously suspects that the calculation method is multiplication and superposition, even an n-power superposition that he cannot imagine. It's too scary. Although golden horned beasts are born with the law of affinity for gold, they also need to grow to the level of the universe to manifest it. But now he's only on the planet level. Surprisingly, it sensed a slight fluctuation in the golden rule. The terrifying surge of this talent made him feel unbelievable. Shocked, moved, and excited. At the same time, all previous plans have been overturned, and he needs to plan his future again. Suppressing the inner turmoil, Jin Yu pondered again. I have now become a golden horn giant, so is the Lord of Luo in this world considered useless? This question actually occurred to him after he became a golden horn giant. He just kept suppressing himself to stop thinking. After all, he was not foolish enough to sacrifice himself for the other party, right? But now that there is a clone system, it seems that one cannot sacrifice a clone spot for Lord Luo to seize. After all, without affecting one's own development, investing in a Hunyuan Lord level presence can be considered profitable. After all, it's a groundbreaking investment that earns no loss. It's much more profitable than ordinary people in the original world who have been reborn and invested in Alibaba by Soha. This wave of operations has a world-class return on investment. I used to gamble my own life, which was unrealistic. But now I'm just taking a clone gamble, even if I lose it, I can still bear it. Actually, Jin Yu has a plan in mind. In theory, the loss of a clone can be restored. If it can still be restored by taking possession of Luo Feng, then one will have the resources to take off. If you don't have money or equipment in the future, selling yourself won't be a problem, right? A living super genius golden horned monster. The higher the price, the better. Cough, isn't it too much for a heavy treasure or something? After making the decision, Jin Yu began to swim rapidly towards the coast of China. I missed a day before, and I don't know if the river animal tide in the southeast military region of China has ended. However, at this moment, the blood vessels in Jin Yu's body began to throb violently, and then instinctively flew towards the sea at lightning speed. Looking along the direction of the pulsating blood vessels, an almost phantom-like object flew from above, heading towards the ocean. Sleeping slot. Sleeping slot. Jin Yu instantly felt the scales on his body explode, and his soul felt a shiver. It was nothing else, and his bloodline sensing made him truly know that it was a golden horned giant beast. Or rather, a golden horned monster egg. But I am the only golden horned beast, where did this come from? Interesting little one, huh? Indeed, there are countless unknown beings in the endless void space. Lord Luo. The future lord of Luo City is causing trouble. A voice rang out in Jin Yu's mind without any warning. Jin Yu, who had already exploded with scales, flew up in place and his soul was frightened, causing him to lose control of his body. His massive body quickly fell into the sea. Monsters. Jin Yu was almost frightened and his mind froze, afraid of everything. Luo Feng's future body. No wonder everything about Luo Feng in the original work is tailor-made, one ring at a time. He suspects that this is what he arranged himself. Luo Feng's future is clearly arranged by him. Perhaps it's because the real experience was too complicated. So, Lord Luo, could you please modify your experience to make your development smoother? The specific reason is unknown. But just arrange it, what's the point of scaring me? I'm ready to hand over my clone for you to take without any reward. Do you need to arrange a new golden horn giant egg? Do you need to specifically relay it to me? Fear, unease, and a sense of powerlessness caused Jin Yu's brain to crash for almost a minute. Even you dare to bully me? Seeking death. During the downtime, a large number of carnivorous marine creatures continued to bite his body. Jin Yu, feeling extremely ashamed and angry, directly utilized his devouring talent to devour tens of thousands of monsters of various levels. I feel much better now. After consuming and venting for a while, Jin Yu's brain became active again. At the same time, my heart also became lively. At present, it seems that the future of Lord Luo is destined to become the supreme Hunyuan Lord. And from the content of the transmission, does Lord Luo have any malicious intent towards him, or is there no way to take action against him? But regardless of the possibility, at least it indicates that one is currently safe. So the relationship with Luo Feng needs to be better established. By the way, the sitting mountain guest is probably also an NPC prepared by Lord Luo for himself, right? What kind of golden light shines on the Star Tower, what kind of 9 Calamities Secret Scriptures, are they all arranged by him? Jin Yu suddenly thought of a possibility, which was outrageous. So, probably, it's not too much to pick up the wool yourself, right? Should, maybe, not be beaten to death by Luo Cheng, right? Jin Yu became entangled. Get away, otherwise in the future, I will definitely let you know why the flowers are so red. Just as Jin Yu hesitated whether to continue harvesting wool, a threat of laughter and tears came from within his head. Subsequently, the whole set of secret techniques from the 9 Calamities Secret Scripture was added to my mind. Can it still be like this? Jin Yu guessed a bit in his heart. It seems that Lord Luo can know some of his thoughts or actions. But if it hasn't happened yet, the other party can't know in advance. Or, if there is a great causal connection, can he find himself and spread the message? Some of my current decisions will directly affect Luo Feng's development. Therefore, when it comes to the essential opportunity of the 9 Calamities Secret Code, I can't help but take action. Moreover, it seems that the other party's malice towards me is not significant. I have not taken action to seize such an important opportunity. Otherwise, a single thought is enough to erase all traces of oneself. The tone of looking forward to meeting oneself before, but the attitude of equal communication. At the level of Lord Luo, even the Divine King is not qualified to be treated equally by him. You didn't take action against me, either because of Lord Luo's personality charm and disdain for doing so. Or you just can't do it. No matter what. You can't float. Although it's a pleasure to pull wool for a while, keep pulling wool, keep pulling wool. But if you're beaten to death, you don't have to pull wool anymore. After thinking for a while, Jin Yu was finally very satisfied and dispelled his desire for the 9 Calamities Secret Scriptures on earth from his heart. Just kidding, with the full version, who wants that defective version? I don't have a tendency to be abused. As for whether or not to collect wool in the future, only he knows for himself. So, now that I insist on replicating Luo Feng's genes, I'm afraid I'll also be killed in the future, right? Jin Yu thought sneakily and instinctively looked around. He always felt that if he made up his mind to do something that seriously affected Luo Feng's development, he would be sensed by the future lord of Luo City. By the way, my perfect clone system. I can't replicate Luo Feng, can I replicate my own soul? After breaking out of his thinking limitations, Jin Yu suddenly thought of his clone skills. According to the instructions, the transformed clone is not only limited by physical matter, but also replicable by the soul. If the replication is successful, then you can be considered a true person. And whether on Earth or in the future universe, there is a human clone that is convenient for action. Subsequently, Jin Yu decisively controlled a trace of his own mental power mixed with a hint of soul breath, appearing in the world inside his body. Talent. Clone. Suddenly, the once peaceful inner world erupted into a riot, with countless golden currents surrounding the strands of thought. Subsequently, a golden egg of about 1.8 meters was formed. Sure enough, this system must be praised. Before, Jin Yu only understood that any life within the range of the inner world could replicate the clone, but due to a preconceived impression at the beginning, he felt that there must be components to replicate. It wasn't until the appearance of Lord Luo that he gave up replicating Luo Feng's genes and thought of trying to replicate his own soul. The result is very good, and those who are satisfied cannot be satisfied anymore. Firstly, it indicates that one's soul is still human, and secondly, there is no need to worry about what kind of body belongs to others. In the future, there will be a question of whether the object is one's predecessor, the green self, or one's own green predecessor. Don't worry about whether your child belongs to your own philosophy. Now Jin Yu can proudly say to his senior colleagues, everyone here is really amazing, but they are still a bit inferior to him. August 22, 2057 in the Gregorian calendar. A phantom moving rapidly towards the sea in the depths of the sea. It's really awkward. The figure with its head protruding looked helplessly at the naked body soaked in the seawater. The talent secret can create clones, but cannot create clothes. Causing him to only appear here naked. I didn't expect to receive the signing notice just a few days after it was sent out. I have written a book before, but I haven't written it for over 1 million words. It can be considered as fulfilling an author's dream, and thank you all for your support and great affirmation from Qinghu. Also, brothers, let's have a wave of tickets. This book is not suitable for eunuchs and usually has 2 chapters per day. We hope everyone can subscribe more. This chapter has been briefly modified. With some minor changes, your subscription is the greatest support for me. If there are no more subscriptions, I will accelerate the completion. The next book is already being conceived. Just published 2 or 3 chapters, I don't know why it's blocked. Ask the editor if it involves military and political affairs. Sorry everyone. The following chapters will continue to be published normally and will not greatly affect reading. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Who Assault Me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Who Assault Me on the outskirts of Kyoto City, City 008. It's you. The figure suspended in mid-air lit up its eyes and flew forward at lightning speed. Who attacked me? A middle-aged soldier felt a pain in his neck and slowly fell to the ground. I didn't expect Jin Yu to fall to the point of grabbing clothes to wear. A young man wrapped in animal skin awkwardly took out the clothes from his backpack on the ground. He, who was reborn, never expected that as a star performer, he would fall to the point where he needed to wear animal skins. If it weren't for hunting a monster in the sea and making simple animal skin clothes, he would only be naked at this time. I'm not a fool, I'll accompany you with one piece of clothing and a leader-level monster corpse, I deserve you. After changing into a martial arts uniform, Jin Yu finally breathed a sigh of relief. After putting the corpse of the high-level lord-level monster that he casually hunted along the way, along with the middle-aged warrior, into a building, he left. My neck hurts so much. I don't know which bastard attacked me, not martial arts. The middle-aged warrior slowly woke up and rubbed his slightly painful neck. This is Shadow Leopard. With 3 shadow stripes on his body, he is at the level of a high lord. The middle-aged warrior looked around and found himself in a hall, then saw the lying shadow leopard. Cold sweat rushed down his forehead, and the middle-aged warrior dared not move as he looked at the lying shadow leopard. He was deeply afraid that if he made any noise, it would startle the other party and lead to death. As time passed by, the middle-aged warrior felt something was wrong. The dead bird faces upwards, and I, Wu Fan, am still worth living to this day. The middle-aged warrior, Steel Fong, bit and slowly approached the shadow leopard. Just now, due to an angle issue, he couldn't see the face of the shadow leopard. At this moment, as they approached, a ferocious face with angry eyes and blood spat out from the mouth caught the eye. Dead. The middle-aged man widened his eyes in disbelief, followed by a burst of ecstasy. A high-level lord-level monster is enough to sell for billions. I only make a few hundred million in a year of hard work, which is enough to justify my 10 years of hard work. Wu Fan was ecstatic in his heart and then began dissecting the monster's materials. Due to hierarchical reasons, the dissection process is tortuous. It took over a day to complete the dissection. But Wu Fan doesn't find it troublesome at all, he almost needs to sing a song. At this moment, Jin Yu, who had robbed a set of combat uniforms, had arrived at the center of City 008. The high-level lord-level monsters here were considered unlucky. The spiritual power to kill monsters is indeed effortless, but there is no suitable weapon. Jin Yu quietly suspended in mid-air, and the spiritual power controlled an alloy war knife in the monster's lair, rapidly penetrating the skull of a tiger-like monster lord. But obviously, the quality of the war knife was average, and under Jin Yu's powerful breaking technique, it directly disintegrated into fragments. This war sword is just a 7 series war sword, a weapon used by elementary war gods. Although it can barely break through the defense of high-level lords, the huge power feedback also makes this war sword shine and completely disintegrate in an instant. After hunting more than 10 monsters, Jin Yu used his psychic powers to control the monster's body and flew towards Kyoto base city along with some equipment found in his lair. And the birds in the sky, feeling the scent of the monsters around him, panicked and scattered in all directions. Am I hallucinating? Member-level mental counselor. When did such a strong mental counselor appear? 10 high-level lords. Brothers, the city center has changed weather. Hurry up, the monsters in the city center are empty now. Let's quickly contact the surrounding God of War team and go to the city center to grab the monsters. Being able to fly and stay in the air without relying on anything, and being able to control weapons to kill monsters remotely, even the most foolish person knows how to encounter the legendary powerful council-level spiritual mage. A large number of warrior teams looked at the exaggerated scene in the sky, filled with surprise and envy, but there were also many people who realized the huge opportunity and gained a lot. What is this? At this moment, on the wall of Tenjin Castle, one of the 8 cities of David, outside Kyoto's base city, a guard sounded the alarm. What happened? An adjutant also climbed up the city wall and looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky. I saw a large object blocking the sky and sun not far away, flying rapidly towards this direction. The speed is very fast, definitely far exceeding the speed of sound. Fire-patterned lion. Silver-horned tiger. Wolverine. Blood-eyed maned lion. Flowing electric leopard. The High Lord level monsters were recognized by the deputy, and he felt that he was crazy. What is the situation? Monsters attacking the city. But what about the beast tide? Without the assistance of weak monsters, even if they are all high-level lords, facing laser cannons poses no threat to the base city. Look! There's a person on the flowing leopard, shouted a soldier in charge of full-time observation. Everyone looked over together, and indeed, a young man wearing a martial arts uniform was sitting cross-legged on the back of Liujian leopard. Although the security forces have activated emergency plans, they have not yet launched any attacks. And at this moment, the higher-ups who received the intelligence also came to the city wall. Have you finally arrived? With so many monsters, it still affects some speed. Jin Yu looked at the navigation position on his wrist, which was the place in front of him. This watch was exchanged by him with a high-level beast and a warrior team. In order to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings, about a kilometer away from the city wall, Jin Yu controlled the monster's body to land entirely on the ground. Soon, the guards of Tianjin City drove several heavy trucks towards them. Hello, I am Nia Yongtao, the person in charge of Kyoto Base City. The person next to me is my deputy Su Xiangdong. I don't know if there is anything I can help you with. Stepping out of the military car, Nia Yongtao, dressed in military uniform, looked at the young man in front of him with sharp eyes, showing a hint of shock. Too young. Oh, hello, Mr. Nia, Mr. Su. My name is Jin Yu. Nia Yongtao looked at Su Xiangdong in confusion, and shook his head in confusion as he saw the other person also shaking his head. In an instant, he couldn't figure it out. Being able to hunt so many high-level lord-level monsters, whether they are powerful members of parliament or invincible war gods, is a highly renowned existence, and they will prioritize learning about this intelligence. But in previous intelligence, he could definitely pat his chest and there was absolutely no such person as Jin Yu. I don't know where Mr. Jin lives, which faction he joined, and what can we do for him. Nia Yongtao's heart was full of twists and turns, but on the surface, he was exceptionally friendly, as if Jin Yu was his own relative. But with a gesture behind him, a personal guard behind him had already secretly contacted Jia Yi. This is the secret code that was agreed upon before coming out. Jin Yu is a planetary-level spiritual master, so sensitive that he can instantly detect the opponent's small movements. He just didn't care. I haven't joined any forces, as for my home. Jin Yu's face showed a hint of sadness unconsciously. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not there anymore. Sorry, Mr. Jin Yu is mourning. Nia Yongtao clearly had a wrong idea. Jin Yu sighed lightly without refuting. In fact, what the other party said is not wrong. They traveled through time and are now separated from their loved ones by two worlds. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are separated by yin and yang. The reason why I am here now is twofold. Firstly, I want to meet the guardian god Jia Yi, and secondly, I would like to ask them to help handle these monster materials. After all, he can be said to be a black door nowadays, and he needs to obtain an official identity certificate. As for the black market, there is no money, but it is a waste of time. Why bother seeking distance? August 21, 2057. It was already noon, with a clear blue sky and no clouds for thousands of miles. On the outskirts of the Acropolis in Kyoto, there stands a thin middle-aged man who is less than 1.7 meters tall, while next to him stands a young man with black short hair who is about 1.8 meters tall and has a symmetrical figure. The arms of young people with short sleeves exposed are like forged steel, giving people an infinite sense of power. Thank you, Brother Jia. The green light all the way saved me a lot of trouble by getting my ID card, said the black short-haired young man with a smile as he kept playing with the card in his hand. Youth is the Jin Yu who created the human clone. Because the soul level and body are consistent, just like the Golden Horn clone, the created clone directly matches the soul strength, reaching the first level of planet level. The middle-aged man is the legendary figure Jia Yi, who has been weak and sickly since childhood, has not developed enough, and his body is thin and small. But it is this skinny middle-aged man in front of us who, during the period of Great Nirvana, repeatedly staged legendary Great Redemption. He saved over 10 million people who had fled in the first place. After creating his own human clone, Jin Yu flew directly into the Kyoto-based city area. After expressing his situation and strength, his information was obtained by Jia Yi. And there is no record of such a legislator's existence in the intelligence system. This once made Jia Yi's heart surge. It should be noted that most of the strong warriors above the God of War level in the world have joined the God of War palace. Suddenly, a strange counselor-level strong warrior appeared, most likely a hidden world strong warrior. Subsequently, Jia Yi directly postponed all meetings and arrangements and personally received Jin Yu. At the moment of meeting, Jin Yu said he didn't have an ID card and wanted to join, but Jia Yi didn't even think about letting the people below handle it, and the light went green all the way. Just kidding, if a star-rated strong person voluntarily joins in, Jia Yi wouldn't doubt the other person's intentions, there's no need at all. As long as Jin Yu wants, he can receive the most grand welcome and hospitality from any organization or country. No organization is so extravagant and powerful that it can send a strong member of parliament to another country as an undercover agent. For planetary-level discussions, power and status are already being sought after, without sufficient benefits, and no one can command them to move. As for whether Jin Yu has an ID card or not, Jia Yi doesn't care. In the words Jia Yi instructed his subordinates, it's best if Jin Yu doesn't have any identity information, and if he does, he should be treated as not having it. In the future, Jin Yu will be his own person. As Jia Yi said. From this moment on, Jin Yu rightfully became a worshipper. It was blocked a few days ago, and all modifications were made several times before it was successful. All 3 chapters were sent out at once. Let's recommend a wave of support for tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Confusion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Confusion. Jin Yu is very satisfied with Jia Yi's understanding of emotions and interests. A person who has been struggling for decades and is determined to win over someone is really doing their best, and various treatment arrangements can be said to be meticulous. It doesn't really matter which faction to join, Jin Yu doesn't care at all. The reason for choosing Huaxia is also because Jia Yi's character is a truly admirable hero and national backbone. Another reason, of course, is that currently Luo Feng lives in Jiangnan base city in China. This wave of goodwill and investment is still needed. Anyway, in the early stages, this opportunity must be given by oneself. Even if we meet with the future lord of Luo City in the future, we can take it lightly, right? Luo Feng, if I help you this way, don't be unkind in the future. Young man, mouse tail juice, don't beat me, Jin Yu thought to himself. From the heart, never lose face. Brother Jia, I heard that there has been an invincible god of war spirit reciter in China recently. Jin Yu held the fruit wine on the nearby table and gently shook it, taking a sip. Don't say, the taste is surprisingly delicious. Yes. He is also our child from China, named Luo Feng. However, he belongs to the extreme martial arts school, and we have already awarded him the rank of Xiao X. He is also willing to help when resisting the beast tide. He is a good young man. Jia Yi was surprised when Jin Yu mentioned Luo Feng, but he didn't pay too much attention. Compared to Jin Yu, who is determined to join the official Chinese parliament, Luo Feng's value cannot be compared to him. For Jia Yi, Luo Feng can at most be considered Dongfeng Express in the era of peace, but Jin Yu is a real nuclear weapon, absolutely strategic. But brother Jin Yu, why don't you consider granting you a military rank? After joining the official team, various resources will lean towards you. Jia Yi still wanted to work harder in the end. Anyway, with multiple concerns and responsibilities, the stronger the relationship becomes. Brother Jia, please spare me. If you have anything to do, just let me know and I'll be responsible for killing the monsters. Let's just forget about the rest, I'm used to idleness. When did Jin Yu encounter such a battle? Firstly, he didn't like to be constrained by national righteousness and freedom. Secondly, he is well aware of the vast waves of the universe. How could he possibly confine himself to the blue star? That's really a pity, Jia Yi nodded regretfully without continuing to force. The other party's willingness to kill monsters when needed in China has already achieved his main goal. As for other functions, they come in second place. As long as there is an unexpected situation, the other party can take action, which is a great blessing for Huaxia. At this moment, a young military officer ran over not far away. Report to the leader, all information of Counselor Jin has been entered into the defense system, and the protective covers of the 6 major base cities in China can enter and exit freely. The officer quickly reported to Jia Yi after bowing. After Jia Yi nodded and gestured, the other party suppressed their inner excitement and turned around to leave. That is the God of China, the Optimus Prime of China. He joined the army without hesitation because he saw Jia Yi's deeds and wanted to do something for China. Brother Jia, you have many fans, haha, Jin Yu joked casually. The skinny middle-aged man in front of me has a broad chest like the sky. I have devoted my whole life to China, loyal to the country and the people. Even if he became the top powerhouse on earth, he stood up without hesitation for the sake of China and the earth, sacrificing himself to help Luo Feng commit suicide by killing the Golden Horn Giant. This is definitely a respected and admirable figure. Brother Jin was joking. If we were to report on your joining China, there would definitely be more fans than me. Jia Yi replied with a smile, no longer hesitating. This is quite true. At Jin Yu's age, the announcement of his strength would indeed attract a lot of exclamation. The key is being young and wealthy, strong in strength, and handsome like a reader. After chatting, Jin Yu finally learned about the strength of Huaxia. For major planetary levels. In addition to Jia Yi and Zhu Shi, there is also a Counselor Tuoba and a Counselor Deng. And this is only a planetary level that is completely loyal to the country. There are nearly 10 other hermit-like beings. For example, Ice Knife Blue Ran, Soul-Chasing Spear Cloud Dragon, and so on. How many members of parliament exist globally? 52 digits. Including Jin Yu, he is only 53rd. And Huaxia occupies nearly 15 places, more than a quarter. Adding to the influence outside the country and the fact that the 2 major martial arts schools also have many planetary levels to which they belong, it can be said that Huaxia is the country with the highest star rating. If it weren't for the absence of a speaker-level presence, Huaxia could proudly claim to be the undisputed leader. This is where ordinary people live. Jin Yu turned to look at the grain base area between the main city and the Acropolis. A base city is divided into the main urban area and the 8 David city. The reason for separating the base city is because between the main urban area and the 8 David city, a large area of land is used as a food base area for human consumption in the base city. These fertile fields are the lifeline on which ordinary people rely for survival. This is the significance of our protection, so that ordinary people can live and work in peace and contentment, Jia Yi said calmly as he followed Jin Yu's gaze and looked at the endless fertile land. Is it the meaning of protection? Jin Yu murmured to himself, unsure of what he was thinking. What is the meaning of my existence? For the first time, after breaking free from the initial confusion, excitement, and fighting spirit, Jin Yu felt lost in his heart. I have traveled on my own, and this world has no roots of my own. So what is my meaning? Jia Yi never expected that his own words would make Jin Yu fall into contemplation. Moreover, there were strange fluctuations on the other party, which made him feel a hint of sharpness and threat. Is everything he said true? Is it really just him? There are no family members left. Originally, Jia Yi was just acting on the spot. As long as he tried to win over Jin Yu, he could believe whatever he said. But that just dealt with the situation, doesn't mean he really believed it. Before, he just thought Jin Yu was intentionally hiding and following the other party. But now it's not right, this situation is not right. Listening to his murmurs, it felt a bit like doubting the rhythm of life, and even mentally deranged. Brother Jin Yu, are you okay? Jia Yixing's star-rated force was released, and the sound entered Jin Yu's ears. Brother Jin Yu, are you okay? Brother Jin Yu, are you okay? In Jin Yu's confusion, a voice echoed in his mind, pulling him back to reality. Hey, Jia, I'm fine, Jin Yu shook his head bitterly. But when I found myself alone, I had no idea where the meaning of life was. Luo Feng has relatives to protect and loves fighting, which is the driving force behind his pursuit and progress. Jia Yi has involvement in China, and protecting the country and the people is his mission. Ordinary people have relatives to take care of, and in order to live a better life, earning money through work is their pursuit. But what about myself? Jin Yu thought for a moment and realized that he was not short of money. He could easily hunt a king-level monster and be carefree. Even in the universe, he can guarantee that he can live comfortably. Even in terms of lifespan, with just a little effort, becoming immortal is not a big problem. Looking back, I found that I had no pursuit left. Someone wants to say. Enjoy a few planets first before proceeding. Someone wants to say. Pursuing combat, upgrading, and evolution, isn't he fragrant? Someone wants to say. Transcend and become the Lord of Hunyuan. However, Jin Yu is just an ordinary person. The problems that arise now are twofold. One is due to weak willpower, and the other is due to a lack of belonging. He wants to find his spiritual sustenance. So, he was lost for a moment. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Bloodline. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Bloodline. Jia Yi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw the other party wake up. The newly recruited strong man doesn't want any problems to arise. Perhaps you have been living alone before, and the feeling of loneliness has made you feel a bit disoriented. How about you move in with me in the future and my place will be lively? Jia Yi tried to persuade. With a family full of children and grandchildren, his home is indeed very lively. And he also has a granddaughter who is about the same age as Jin Yu. Maybe he has eye contact, right? It's okay, brother Jia. It's just a momentary emotion, I'm okay, Jin Yu said with a completely indifferent expression. As for whether he doesn't care, perhaps only he knows it himself. This world is very magical. Who knows if the future will bring back the deceased? With your talent, maybe you can take a peek. Jia Yi knew that the other person was not as open as he appeared, but he didn't know how to persuade him, so he casually said. After all, when he was young, many novels were popular with the revival trend. Perhaps pursuing martial arts or something can give him some motivation. Wait. Resurrection. A departed person. As the saying goes, the speaker has no intention, the listener has intention. Just as Jia Yi finished speaking, Jin Yu was stunned. Yes, I have traveled through time. But this is still the Earth. The Earth in 2057 is only 35 years away from the year 2022 when it traveled. Perhaps my parents are still alive. Perhaps I have traveled through time. Or is this a parallel world? Jin Yu turned around excitedly and grabbed Jia Yi's arm fiercely, with a speed that even planetary-level second-level Jia Yi couldn't fully react. So strong. This was Jia Yi's first reaction. Sleeping trough. Do you need to exert so much force? It's about to break. This was Jia Yi's second reaction. Brother, can you let go of me before speaking? Jia Yi suppressed the pain and gestured with a smile as Jin Yu grabbed his hands. I'm sorry. Brother, I'm too excited. Jin Yu took a deep breath and calmed down his emotions. Excited. I don't know what my younger brother is thinking. If there's anything I need to do, just let me know. Jia Yi's eyes lit up and he took the initiative to show his affection. Brother, you woke up the person in your dream with just one word earlier. There's really something I need your help with. Jin Yu immediately expressed his thoughts. He wants Jia Yi to check if his parents are still alive. To be honest, he himself has no connection or confidence in whether there is any connection between his past life and this life. But it doesn't hinder trying it out. This is easy to handle, Jia Yi readily agreed upon hearing the other party's description. Being able to make a strong legislator fall in love with someone through common things is simply a guaranteed business. Time passed by minute by second, and Jin Yu anxiously paced back and forth. But Jia Yi standing next to him did not try to persuade or speak. But once again urged the people below to investigate at all costs and ensure the safety of relevant personnel. Urgent matters require power, and Jia Yi also ordered that anyone who obstructs or threatens the lives of the parties involved be arrested. Even members of special departments and the Huashan organization were mobilized, and the outside world was in a state of panic. I don't know how long it has been, and the sky is gradually getting dark. The young deputy who had previously come to report on work has reappeared. The other party was running quickly, not daring to delay for a moment. Report. Our people have contacted. Don't talk nonsense, just focus on the main point. Did you find the person? Jia Yi interrupted the other person's words and asked. Under Jia Yi's authority, the young deputy was nervous and forced to remain calm to continue answering. After investigation, it was found that Senator Kim's parents had already died and both passed away 10 years ago. Boom. Upon hearing the news, Jin Yu felt like a thunderbolt, his whole body collapsing. Even planetary-level powerhouses couldn't control their bodies and sat down on the ground. But after multiple verifications, it was found that Counselor Jin's parents have another daughter who is currently boarding at Ian District No. 1 High School. He is now 15 years old and studying in his first year of high school. The young deputy saw himself breaking a sentence, causing Jin Yu to collapse on the ground, scared out of his wits, and quickly revealed the news afterwards. After speaking, he realized that his back was soaked and his temples were sweating profusely. He only felt his eyes flicker, and his whole body fell into a force field. Is this the level of a legislator? It's so strong. The young deputy was filled with awe and longing in his heart. You said I still have a younger sister. Jin Yu stood in front of him incredulously and asked. The young deputy immediately replied, if you're a member of the Jin family, yes. You still have blood relatives who are currently escorted by Jiang Long, the leader of the second group of the special department, Huashan. You're already on your way here. Thank you very much, Jin Yu nodded at the officer, expressing his gratitude. Subsequently, at the signal of Jia Yi, the officer quickly left. Congratulations, brother Jin Yu. You won't be alone anymore, Jia Yi smiled and patted Jin Yu's shoulder. Jin Yu's lips curved upwards, his inner joy overflowing with words. Although my parents are gone, there are still family members present, which is really great news. In an instant, he felt that his previous sense of detachment was gone, and the whole world was connected to him. This is my hometown, because it has roots. Jin Yu picked up the red wine from the table next to him, drank it all in one gulp, and laughed heartily. Okay, in the future, Huaxia will be completely bound to Jin Yu. This little girl is really a hero. Jia Yi looked at Jin Yu's appearance with great joy in his heart. By adding a talented member of parliament directly under him, the overall strength of Huaxia could be considered even higher. In a joyful mood, all those who participated in the search were commended. Are you really my brother? At this moment, inside the restaurant on the top floor of the Kyoto Pearl, the tallest building in Kyoto, a girl with cunning eyes but exceptionally thin body sat at the dining table, munching on her food. Jin Yu looked at the girl in front of him, who was only 150 centimeters tall and weighing less than 70 pounds, with a heart-wrenching pain. This is my younger sister, the continuation of the bloodline left by my parents. Yes, I am your own brother. Even before coming to the restaurant, Jin Yu had already tested his genes and the girl's connection through Huashan. The result clearly tells him that this is his blood relative. And even at some cost, Jia Yi found out that Jin Yu had been confirmed dead more than 30 years ago, and the hospital determined that he died suddenly. This led Jin Yu to seriously suspect that he was traveling through his original world. I just don't know why I came to the next 35 years. But there are no tomatoes in this world, nor are there rumors of devouring Starry Sky novels, which makes Jin Yu confused and infers that it may be a parallel world. Or perhaps there is a stronger force that erases all of this. But no matter what, I am not alone now. Having my own sister, the concern of this world. Nah, don't let your eyes wander aimlessly. This is the appraisal certificate. Jin Yu looked at the little girl with a skeptical expression on her face, unsure for a moment whether to feel heartbroken or slap her. I could only throw the appraisal certificate given by Jia Yi's disciple Jiang Long in front of him. The little girl's eyes lit up and she grabbed the appraisal certificate and flipped through it. Until I saw the last line. After appraisal, Jin Yu and Jin Ling were siblings of the same father and mother by blood. Brother. After repeatedly confirming that she was not mistaken in disbelief, Jin Ling's tears could no longer stop, roaring out a blood-like sadness in her heart. Sister. Jin Yu tightly hugged the girl in front of him and gently stroked her dry short hair. From this moment on, Jin Yu swore to take care of his younger sister for a lifetime. Whoever dares to bully his sister will be prepared to be defeated by himself. No. We also need to be prepared to be resurrected by ourselves and then be defeated again. After wiping away Jin Ling's tears and calming her emotions, Jin Yu began to constantly serve her dishes. At this moment, there were only 3 people in the huge private room, 2 siblings and the lobby manager who had been waiting for them. In order to make up for his younger sister and know his sister's preferences, Jin Yu ordered hundreds of dishes for her to try. If you like it, have the lobby manager record it, and if you don't like it, remove it. Until Jin Ling bulged his cheeks and refused to eat anymore, he didn't give up. It's great to have an older brother. Jin Ling was surrounded by endless happiness. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. This is the domain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. This is the domain. After eating and drinking, Jin Ling was pulled by Jin Yu to go shopping. I strolled around various famous brand stores in the center of Beijing, and with the addition of various jewelry stores, it really broadened Jin Ling's horizons. In the past decade or so, I never heard much of it, not to mention seeing it. This place is so beautiful. Wow, this necklace is actually made of crow alloy. If you like it, you can choose. Brother will buy it for you. Brother, it's too expensive. Let's go. Waiter, wrap everything that my sister is interested in. Brother, you are so kind to me. From the beginning, I felt uneasy and insecure. Those who followed cheered endlessly. Later, lying lazily on Jin Yu's back, Jin Ling was as happy as a bird returning to nature, chattering non-stop. At first, she was worried about her brother's insufficient wallet, but later she looked at the money numbers on his smartwatch and finally found out that she had flown. The kind of flying sky that leaps 33 times in one leap. Later, she was taken by Jin Yu to soak in hot springs, and underwent body care and haircuts. And he threw away all his clothes and changed into a cute princess costume. Looking in the mirror, Jin Ling cried as she looked at the slightly thin and frail girl with a radiant glow all over her body. This is the cry of happiness. Dad, Mom, have you seen it? Ling Ling is living very, very well now. My brother has come to find me. Jin Ling said happily to the pendant in her hand. Inside the pendant is a family portrait of her and her parents. Everyone inside laughed happily. Jin Yu walked over and gently touched his sister's hair, the love in his eyes flickering away. On the evening of August 21st, 2057, the moon was so bright. "Brother, will this belong to us from now on?" Jin Ling looked at the huge 3-story detached villa in front of her with incredible eyes. Depending on the situation, the single layer is at least thousands of square meters. Due to the night, the entire villa was lit up beautifully. Jin Ling still knows about this world. Both the reports and the introductions in books made her clearly understand what such a villa meant. Even the mayor and richest man of Jiangnan Base City are not eligible to reside. Those who have the power to reside are all the top-tier entities in the world. "Well, this place will belong to us from now on," Jin Yu replied with a smile as he gently supported his sister's shoulders with both hands. "My brother is still a big shot," Jin Ling spat out her tongue, and Gu Ling stood on tiptoe to lightly kiss Jin Yu's cheek. "Just when I ran out, my cheeks turned red to the bottom of my ears. But she is really happy inside." The name of the villa is Jinling Mansion, which belongs to Jinling's mansion. It is also the accommodation arranged by Jia Yi. Mississippi. There was a middle-aged butler in his 50s and 3 young maids in the villa area, all bowing to the approaching Jinling. These people are all under the jurisdiction of the official special department and are now all transferred to serve and protect Jinling. Ah. Hello everyone. Uncle and sisters, just call me Jin Ling. Jin Ling had experienced such a battle before and kindly asked them not to call him that way. Jin Yu did not correct his sister's behavior, as long as she could be happy, he felt that there was no problem. It was the warrior-level vitality of the people around her that surprised him a little. Jin Yu never expected Jia Yi to arrange so thoughtfully. Although he understood that he was selling a favor to himself, he was willing to accept it. Kyoto Base City, Jia Yi's office. "Chief, we have sent our dark guards to protect Miss Jean 24 hours a day. At the same time, we have arranged for the Imperial team to be butlers and maids, providing close protection." The leader of the dark guards, dressed in black, reported. "Okay, let's go down. Just protect Jin Ling's safety, there's no need to interfere or understand anything else." Jia Yi waved his hand to signal the other person to step back. The Dark Guard and the Imperial Guard are other special departments of the country. On the surface, they also have a name, 9 and 11. Dark Guards are mainly responsible for collecting intelligence and secretly protecting or killing targets. The Imperial Guard is dedicated to guarding the target character. Some leaders have such close protection around them. Jinling Mansion, Training Room. Brother Jia really thinks of selling favors anytime and anywhere. Jin Yu couldn't help but laugh as he looked at the message he received on his smartwatch. "My younger sister is clearly arranged. But that's okay, it won't affect Xiao Ling's life, and it can also protect her." Jin Yu nodded, ignoring it. "Previously, due to emotional fluctuations, I had a better understanding of the power of the field. It's just a good opportunity to consolidate now." Jin Yu wore a black martial arts uniform and sat cross-legged. Due to the stacking of talents, Jin Yu's Golden Rule talent attribute can be said to have been crazily increased. At this moment, the spiritual and mental energy is scattered, carefully comprehending everything in the surrounding space. The energy of the universe is subtle and invisible, yet ubiquitous. When Jin Yu sank his mind to carefully understand, he realized that the whole world had changed. Surrounded by endless cosmic energy, the concentration is low but truly perceptible. Energy flows freely with the rules of the universe, like an unbound child, mischievous and mischievous. At that time, it was probably due to my emotional fluctuations that my mental and intellectual abilities triggered the cosmic energy and touched the realm of gold. Jin Yu's talent is so terrifying. It can be said that even if he doesn't practice, he can naturally comprehend the existence of laws by relying on his foundation. Under the fluctuation of emotions, a trace of law was triggered by instinct, and the existence of the realm was comprehended. It's just that it's passive and uncontrollable, and now we need to find out the feelings and artificially control them. At that time, Jia Yi felt that the opponent's speed increased rapidly and their strength was enormous because they had hooked a thread of the law. In memory inheritance, it is said that domain is the true combination of genetic energy, physical strength, spiritual power, and consciousness, which triggers resonance in the universe. And due to my natural talent, I am already very close to the law of alloy. All I need to do is follow the feeling, adjust my genetic energy and spiritual power to get closer to this feeling, form unity, and integrate uniqueness. Originally, the spiritual master was naturally skilled in control, and with his innate affinity, Jin Yu's efficiency in adjustment was very high. Unlike Hong and his team, who need to gradually improve their understanding, Jin Yu was forcibly fed by the heavens and directly jumped to the next level of understanding. Time passes by second. Gradually, through the joint efforts of the other two golden horned beasts, Jin Yu finally spent 2 days finding the convergence point of his mind, force, will, and body. Silently, at the moment when everything reached a harmonious resonance, a faint light emanated from Jin Yu's body. The hazy golden realm enveloped his body, and even the entire villa was enveloped within the realm. So strong. A 10-fold increase in all aspects. Jin Yu finally understood why Hong was only at the 6th level of the planetary level, and could claim to be invincible with his realm. A 10-fold increase in buff from all directions, including speed, power, perception, reaction, and more, enhances combat effectiveness by more than 10 times. The more 2 or 3 levels of suppression, the easier it will be. Nowadays, it can be said that on Earth, except for Hong, he is fearless. Even the Thunder God is completely fearless. Even if there is a lack of effort, the increase in speed in the field is enough to catch up with other industry stars. Now that the field has just begun to mature, it's just a good time to supplement some of the cultivation foundations. Jin Yu knew that he lacked too much now. Apart from having a strong foundation, whether it was combat experience, combat skills, body methods, or power, he could not compare with other council members. He needs time. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The God of Wealth in City 003. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The God of Wealth in City 003 August 31st, 2057, City 003. Is that God of Wealth still fighting in the city center? A strong man with a scar on his face looked yearning, hoping that it would be him fighting there. This is a warrior-level squad in the suburbs, repairing in a residential area while chatting. Yeah, it's so abnormal. You don't even need to rest in such a fierce battle. A burly female warrior wiped her sniper rifle with a hint of disbelief in her tone. He is truly the God of Wealth in everyone's mouths. Since coming here 10 days ago, the entire city of 003 has been in chaos. However, our gains have also increased significantly, with a large number of beast-level monsters escaping. This time, we have made a lot of money. A thin and small warrior said with his eyes lit up as he twisted his fingers. When it comes to money, the entire members of the martial arts team suddenly burst into joy. And the God of Wealth is also a fully harvested warrior team in the entire 003 city, unanimously recognized by word of mouth. At this moment, the God of Wealth among the crowd was holding an SS-grade alloy war knife and fighting against a 10-meter-high armored bear. After mutation, this fierce bear's huge paw has dagger-long, blade-like claws that can easily cut through steel bars and boulders when swung. During this period, due to the battle between Jin Yu and Iron Armor Bear, a radius of 300 meters has turned into ruins. I see how many knives you can take. Jin Yu coldly kicked his right foot on the ground, his body like a shell, and quickly ejected towards the armored bear. Roar! The iron-armored bear's eyes widened, and its giant bear paws, which were 1 meter square and almost circular in shape, crazily slapped the despicable human in front of it. It already has too many scars on its body, and the intense pain from all over its body almost overwhelms its rationality, leaving only instinctual bloodthirsty killing and destruction to make it vent its anger. Watching the raging giant bear attack, Jin Yu remained motionless. As his wrist turned, a flash of sword light quickly struck the bear's paw. Pushi. Bang. The previous sound was a low and muffled sound made after the knife and meat clashed. The last sound is the feedback of a powerful force, the roar generated by the ground exploding below. However, the collision of forces capable of shattering steel had no impact on the people and bears at the center. Die. You mean nothing to me anymore. After fighting against the giant bear for a long time, under strong pressure, Jin Yu finally felt the feeling of impending breakthrough as he wished. In his breath, he instantly released the force that had been suppressed to the peak of the warrior to the peak of the god of war. The iron-armored bear's eyes only had time to reflect a brilliant blade light, and then its consciousness fell into boundless darkness. The huge body slowly fell backwards, with blood streaming down its forehead and various red and white debris spraying out. At the last moment, Jin Yu had already pulled out the war knife that had shattered the giant bear's skull. You can drag it away. Jin Yu gave a command to the smart bracelet, but without looking at the billions worth of giant bear corpses, he left the ruins directly. Soon, a group of warrior soldiers arranged by Jia Yi arrived at the center of the battle. Although they had anticipated it earlier, as they witnessed the brutal battle scenes around them and the fallen bodies of giant bears, their pupils still shrank. Don't be stunned, quickly dissect the body of the iron-armored bear and have good luck. This is the research material that Dr. Li has scheduled. A middle-aged man who was obviously at the rank of captain interrupted everyone's sighs, and then arranged for someone to quickly dissect the key materials and remove the relevant components as requested by the doctor. Edge of City 003. At this moment, Jin Yu was sitting cross-legged in an abandoned hotel building, organizing and absorbing his previous insights. It has been 10 days since I arrived in the city of 003, also known as the Monster Cave, which was formerly known as SH City. By suppressing internal energy, Jin Yu controlled his physical strength at the peak of the god of war, engaging in fierce battles with lord-level monsters in the city center. And by learning and comprehending various secret scripts obtained from Jia Yi, research suitable body methods, strength, and so on. Unparalleled talent bonus, sharp perception after spiritual and mental power plus domain bonus, combined with the body of 2 golden horned beasts in the ocean, the speed of research and breakthrough is like riding a rocket, traveling thousands of miles in a day. Under the training of top-notch lord-level monsters, their body methods and combat skills quickly caught up with the warriors who had been killing in this world for a long time, reaching the level of artistic conception one by one. Because there are only secret scripts suitable for golden horn giant beast cultivation in the inheritance memory, and only some basic knowledge explanations, it is inevitable to refer to the secret scripts on Earth. In terms of physical exertion, he continuously broke through in the brutal slaughter by inheriting the detailed explanation of exertion from memory and studying multiple secret books. Almost every day, he can break through a layer of power skills. The efforts of Thunder God and others have all gone wrong, but some of the techniques are indeed worth learning from. Now, my Baichong Tower has achieved its 10th level of strength, reaching 10 times its output. Jin Yu's eyes lit up, and he clenched his fist with his right hand. In an instant, he swung a punch that exceeded several times the speed of sound. Puzzy. A circular hole appeared silently on the wall not far away, incredibly smooth. Boom. Immediately afterwards, the sound of the fist style exploded. It has reached 10 times, no matter how much it is improved, there will be no qualitative improvement. It's time to leave. Jin Yu patted his clothes with satisfaction and prepared to return to the base city for a night's rest. Nowadays, both body and sword techniques can be well integrated into the field. The power has also reached 10 times, and even if it increases further to 20 times, it will only increase the combat power by 2 times, which is not significant. He came to the wilderness alone for several purposes. One is to hone oneself. After all, I was in a peaceful era before and lacked much in terms of killing compared to the warriors in this world. After 10 days of high-intensity cultivation, it can be considered as a preliminary completion of the shortcomings. The second is to make some plans and prepare for future plans. San Lai is the son of the meeting plane, and tomorrow is the inauguration ceremony of the other party's supervisory envoy. It's time for me to brush up on my sense of presence. After completing his cultivation, Jin Yu boarded the UFO fighter jet arranged by Jia Yi and returned to the base city. It's really a series of happy events. Jin Yu, who was originally washing up in the bathroom at home, felt a sense of joy in his heart. It turned out that the Golden Horn Giant at the bottom of the ocean successfully cultivated the first level of the Nine Calamities Secret Code. After 10 days of uninterrupted cultivation, I have finally reached a preliminary level and my genetic strength has doubled. That is to say, the genetic level of the Golden Horn Giant has reached 20 times. It can be said that the energy intensity of the Golden Horn Giant is now comparable to that of ordinary planetary level 5th order humans. With the addition of enhanced talents, the overall increase in energy intensity is double, which is comparable to that of human beings at the 6th level of star level. Adding 20 times the terrifying power and domain bonuses, it can be said that the true strength of the Golden Horn Giant is completely comparable to or even surpassing that of Hong. The reason why it is 20 times is because the body of the Golden Horn Giant is completely born for slaughter, and it is much easier to improve its power skills than the human body. The human body only exerts 10 times the force, while the body of the Golden Horn Giant has already reached 20 times. This is the preference of the universe. In fact, during these 10 days, most of the energy of the Golden Horn Giant has been focused on studying the 9 Calamities Secret Scriptures. The remaining energy is to cooperate with Jin Yu to cultivate other skills. It has to be said that the talent after the bonus has reached the level of a demon. Brother, are you okay? Come down and have dinner soon. Jin Ling's crisp voice came from downstairs. All right, here we are. Jin Yu put away his thoughts, and the force's surge evaporated the water vapor before putting on his clothes and leaving the bathroom. As if teleporting into the living room, what caught the eye was the busy figure of Jin Ling. The little people are carrying the food, all doing it themselves. And other servants also cooperated in placing tableware and preparing before meals. Brother, you're also too slow. Today, to celebrate your return from the wilderness, Sister Lu and I specially prepared a welcome banquet for you. The little girl frowned and said proudly. Oh. Or did our spiritual family cook it themselves? Then I'll have a good taste. Jin Yu laughed heartily and enjoyed the moment. 10 days of uninterrupted slaughter and cultivation made his soul and body feel a bit tired, and only when he arrived home did he feel a hint of peace of mind. That kind of relaxation from the body to the soul level. In the midst of this crazy slaughter returning to peace, Jin Yu felt a significant increase in willpower. Indeed, cultivation and relaxation complement each other, and the combination of relaxation is the key. With a hint of joy in his heart, Jin Yu instinctively rubbed his sister's hair, causing a wave of silly resistance. Brother, you bastard, my hair is all messy. Jin Ling said, but her hand didn't stop, constantly picking vegetables for her brother. She listened to the butler and Sister Luya talking about the terrifying nature of many wilderness areas, constantly guarding against monster attacks and even the aftermath of powerful monster and warrior battles. It can be said that once you step into the wilderness, life is no longer guaranteed. This also made her more aware of how hard it is for ordinary people to achieve peace in Al-Qaeda today. She can't do anything else, she just hopes to do what she can to take care of her brother's rear, prepare food for him, and welcome him back. Let him know that there is always someone behind him waiting for him to return safely. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Killing Tornadoes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Killing Tornadoes. Brother, are we also going to kill monsters? Jin Ling asked with red eyes. Their parents were caused to wander around by monsters, leaving behind various internal illnesses. In addition, when their loved ones passed away one by one, their emotions fluctuated, and various illnesses erupted and passed away. To be honest, the monster is the object of their family's hatred. Well, we'll go too. Jin Yu touched his sister's hair and calmed her emotions. Monsters are meant to be killed, but to completely solve them, their current strength is beyond their capabilities. There are too many monsters on Earth, coupled with concerns about monster uprisings and siege, resulting in a large number of civilian deaths and injuries, making large-scale hunting impossible. The current way of handling it is simply to rely on warriors constantly hunting, while the soft knife controls the number of monsters and maintains balance. After watching the beast tide, go find Babata. Jin Yu had already made up his mind. To solve the problem of the Earth once and for all, we must step into the universe as soon as possible. Dear God of War, a voice came from Jin Yu's communication watch. I am Li Dawei, and I will arrive at the front line position in 50 seconds. There are countless monsters in the sea ahead. Please have the war god Strong enter the frontline position to assist the army in resisting this beast tide attack. Only war gods with the Black God set can attempt to enter the monster group for attacks. Arrive at the position. As the voice on the communication watch sounded, Jin Yu whispered, Xiao Ling, wait for me here. Jin Ling pursed her mouth and nodded, her slightly red eyes intertwined with hatred and concern, making her feel conflicted inside. I want to avenge my parents while also worrying about my brother's safety. Don't worry, there is no one on Earth who can threaten my life. Jin Yu stood up confidently, his fighting spirit boiling. Wow! The cabin door opened, and Jin Yu, dressed in a white suit like a young master, flew out of the air. And the hatch of the Golden Dragon fighter jet closed again, suspended in mid-air. Flying saucer fighter jets quickly landed in the front line base below, which was blocked in a section of the Huangpu River. This section of the water was completely blocked by a large amount of rocks, steel, and cement, and an extremely large small war base made of steel, water, and mud was built on it. A large amount of cold light shone, and thick barrels extended from each muzzle. This is a level 1 beast tide. Jin Yu was suspended in the air, looking down from a height of nearly a kilometer, completely shocked. The Huangpu River, as an important channel for countless sea monsters to attack inland areas in the East China Sea, has been continuously affected by countless sea monsters for decades, making the width and depth of the Huangpu River even more astonishing than before the Great Nirvana period. In the vast Huangpu River, there are countless water monsters lurking. And that war base is blocking the entire Huangpu River. Make it impossible to pass. And at this moment, the sound of gunfire was deafening as if the sky and earth were falling apart. Various water monsters, densely packed and covered with sky and earth, either ejected or quickly crawled out of the Huangpu River, including fierce arthropod monsters, reptile monsters most familiar with land, as well as eerie coelenterate water monsters, spiny skin water monsters, and the most numerous fish monsters covered with sky and earth. Sea monsters are more than 10 times terrifying than land monsters. One is the abundance of quantity. Secondly, the ability is extremely eerie. Like arthropod monsters, only shrimp and crabs were found in the sea before the Great Nirvana period. Thousands of species of shrimp and crabs were discovered, including tens of thousands of unknown ones. After mutation, monsters such as shrimp and crabs have reached an astonishing number. Not to mention other coelenterates and echinoderms. Humans predict that before the Great Nirvana period, there would be over 2 million species of marine life. What about now? After the Great Nirvana period, no one knows. I only know that there are so many terrifying monsters of all kinds, such as many island countries back then, which is a lesson from the past. No country dares to underestimate sea monsters. Who? It's even more terrifying than I expected. Jin Yu was also shocked to see these. It's hard to imagine how our ancestors supported and established these base cities without these weapons back then. Jia Yi and his team have put in far more effort than they imagined. Whoosh! Jin Yu's gaze turned cold as he saw 20 flying knives floating around him, while also carrying a small bag containing a large number of flying knives, diving down. The target is not a monster, but a frontline soldier base. From a high altitude, it is densely packed, and when diving down, it is even more astonishing. A large number of various fish and monsters jump out of the Huangpu River, one at a height of 20.30 meters. Countless fish and monsters fiercely expose their sharp teeth, even steel and cement will be bitten to pieces by them. Luo Feng and Lei Meng, please kill some Lord-level water monsters that have landed. Li Douyi's voice came from his communication watch. Lord level. Luo Feng looked down. At first glance, I saw a water monster about 15 or 16 meters long, with a large turtle shell on its back. The giant turtle shell on its back also had protrusions, shining with a hint of dark gold. Its head is like the head of a dinosaur, with a hard skull and a black pointed horn, resembling a serrated mouth that no one would doubt its power. It is moving rapidly without a single pause. Unable to aim, moving too fast, said the operator of one of the laser gun strongholds anxiously on a tall building a kilometer away. These Lord-level monsters have all become experts. After suffering losses, once they land, none of them will stop. No matter how fast the laser cannon is, it still relies on humans pressing buttons to give commands. The time required for human neural response, combined with the pressing time, makes it impossible to aim at the target. Boom. 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 The shells with a caliber exceeding 100 mm bombarded the frontline positions frantically, and the land distance between the water and the real base was about 200 meters, which was like a sea of fire. Countless water monsters were frantically charging, and the huge war base was also crazily tilting with various types of artillery fire. Whoosh! A black shadow darted through the endless sea of monsters like lightning. Puff! Ping! The overwhelming firepower suppressed him, causing many large-caliber bullets to shoot at him, and even shells to bombard him. Controlled by invisible forces, he turned and bombarded a crab monster armor on one side, causing steel plates to fly wildly. However, the speed of the black shadow did not slow down at all. Die! Shoo! 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 6 cold knife lights were spinning and flying over the front, rapidly moving. The neck position of the giant turtle-like monster that was about to impact the war base was like cutting an apple. The terrifying head of this Lord-level sea monster was directly cut open, and Noada's body rushed forward with inertia, flying away from many other sea monsters and then remained motionless. Okay. Amazing. Inspector Luo is indeed impressive. Many people inside the war base exclaimed in surprise. Boom. Puff. But at this moment, a giant monster resembling a snake collided with the war base. The walls of the war base shook violently, and the already riddled and cracked walls shook again, causing a large amount of concrete and cement blocks to fall off. However, at the same moment, silent. A dazzling white light shot out from one of the towers inside the war base. This Lord-level giant monster is not allowed to dodge at all, it will directly penetrate and burn into nothingness. Laser cannon. However, while this leader-level snake-shaped monster collided with the city wall, it also released the strongest electric light. Pop. I saw a twisted electric light suddenly spreading, even rapidly rushing along several of the muzzles into the interior of the base. If allowed to be affected by this terrifying electric light, it would surely cause many casualties within the war base. Done. A hint of despair flashed in the minds of a large number of soldiers inside the base, yet they were helpless. However, after waiting for a few seconds, the soldiers inside the base found themselves covered in a layer of golden light. Surrounded by dazzling gold. Is this the feeling after death? I didn't expect it to be golden. Is this going to heaven? Muttered the soldier to himself. But before they could continue to experience it, the golden light disappeared. Fortunately, the response was timely and the lightning was intercepted. Jin Yu breathed a sigh of relief after feeling that the domain had decomposed the attack of the snake-like giant beast. At least dozens of lives were saved. This is just a corner of a beast tide. How many soldiers have sacrificed over the years to protect this land? Jin Yu thought carefully and his heart trembled. They have put in too much effort for their families and the people. Humph, protocol. Threat. Any rule is made by the strong. From today on, Jin Yu will break this damn chaotic world. No longer thinking about the plot, no longer caring about anything else, Jin Yu's eyes were so cold and icy at this moment. He doesn't allow any more life to wither before his eyes. Then it turned into a golden stream of light and fell into the river. His determination to become stronger in his heart became indestructible at this moment, and his will surged rapidly, reaching the first level of his mental state, showing clear insight. I will kill anyone who dares to stir up a wave of beasts, and the Beast Emperor has no right. I said that. Jin Yu's eyes showed an endless desire for slaughter, and his spiritual power spurted out as he integrated into the field and began to slaughter. Without pursuing ultimate attack power, he controlled hundreds of flying knives and integrated them into the field. He was like a huge flying knife tornado, bringing the ultimate feast of death wherever he passed. Puzzy. Puzzy. The sound of the meat grinder chopping up shredded meat is incessant. The entire battlefield fell silent at this moment, watching the tornado like a god of death. Like a deity. Chapter 10 and Chapter 11 are blocked, depicting the plot of Luo Feng's appointment as the inspector. The impact is not significant, I am also applying and it will not affect the subsequent plot. Simply put, Jin Yu looked at the son of the plane, but without further communication, he followed Li Dou's lead and went to the front line of the war. End of this chapter.